next guest. We are on to episode 59, and this is a really another unique episode, back to back. I love this because these are specifics in our industry that the last podcast episode, another very specific thing, and on this one, we've got a guy by the name of Kris Olsson. And if you don't know who he is, he's also known as Steering Wheel Kris. And people do know him for his steering wheels. And he's in a very specific part of our industry, and one that I really enjoy because when you see the steering wheels, first off, if you don't know Kris, you should probably check out his Instagram for sure. Because when you see what I'm talking about with these steering wheels, it's really something else. They really are a beautiful art piece. And I think any of you that, I don't care if you're doing metal work, airbrush work, pinstriping, whatever it is, you would definitely appreciate the work that this guy does. And I have for years. I've really enjoyed seeing it. So this episode was awesome because I get to sit down with him, break down what he does, get his thoughts, get to know who he is, and really see that creativity has many, many substrates. And for Kris, it's a steering wheel. And he's really good at it. So, anyways, I appreciate you all listening and following along. Let's get started with this next episode. Welcome back to the Automotive Artistry Podcast. And my next guest today is Kris, who I thought his last name was Steering Wheel. I'm sure you probably get that a lot, Kris. But Kris Olsson, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you wanting to take the time to learn about what I do and a little bit about myself.
Well, actually, before I kind of get into it a little bit, tell us a little bit about you. You're, if people don't know you from Instagram, obviously that's where I started following you from. And I don't remember how many years ago, but I'm just very interested in what seems like your main thing is the steering wheels, but we're going to find out more about you throughout the episode.
Well, I mean, the funny thing is everyone that does see me in person, they always say the same thing. It's like, hey, man, I follow you on Instagram. You do great work. And that's kind of where it goes. But I mean, I've been in the car scene since I was little. My dad, we grew up around classic cars and stuff like that. So it's always been something that I've been very into. Mainly Fords and stuff from the 50s and the 60s is what I like. But as far as the steering wheels, I mean, I'll do basically anything, honestly.
Mm-hmm. And so this is hot rods, classics, whatever the genre is. It's been in your family for a long time?
Yeah, I mean, we grew up with nothing but cars from the 60s. That's always what we rode around in. And that's kind of why I have a big liking for the classic cars. It's just always been around.
Was this something that like your dad, your mother, anybody that like they were in the industry?
No, well, my dad used to buy and sell cars, and he would send a lot of cars overseas.
Okay.
So back in the 90s, it was really big. He would buy cars and send them back home to Sweden, where we're originally from, and it was just always around us.
And are we talking about California? Because that's, for the listeners, you're based out of California, right?
Yeah, I've been in California almost my whole life. I was born in Sweden, but we came over here in the early 90s, and we've just been here ever since. But yeah, we're based out of Southern California. I'm right in North Hollywood.
Yeah, because it just seems like SoCal, like when it comes to like the classics, the hot rods, there's so many genres. The lowrider scene, it really seems like that's a big hub for a lot of our industry.
It is. I mean, again, I grew up here, so I've seen everything from the lowriders to the hot rods. It's just, I think the weather is very permitting for you to do kind of whatever you want. So hot rods, lowriders, it's all around us all the time.
Yeah, that puts you in a good spot to be exposed to a lot of cool cars.
Oh, it does, and it's all year round, which is the great part. I can literally, in the middle of winter time, we can go to a show and it can be 80 degrees outside, and it's wonderful.
Do you think that plays a big role in like why California has such a big scene?
I mean, personally, I do. I think that has a very big part of it is the weather because the guys back east, they only get maybe 3 or 4 months of good weather, and then, aside from that, their cars go into hibernation.
Yeah, I've been in Florida most of my life. I was actually born in Oakland, California,
Okay.
but we moved down to Florida early on in my life. But like you guys, I mean, you guys get colder winters than we do. Uh, but we're used to kind of that all year you can do something. And it's funny for me because I'd meet people from like Ohio, Maine, like all these northern states, and they're just like, yeah, we're pretty much like closed half of the year, as far as
Right.
like being able to take their nice cars out.
Right. And I know a lot of my customers too, they'll tell me like, "Hey, when we're ready to put our car away, we'll place an order with you because right now it's show car season and we got 3 or 4 months of that and after that the car goes away and then we can take it apart."
Yeah.
So I totally understand that.
hmm Yeah, we get spoiled with the weather we
Oh
get.
yes, no, the weather spoils us 100%. You're very right.
Yeah, yeah. So I kind of want to stick right now to, the early stages of your time in the industry, whether it was like family or anything. Uh, what was like your earlier like hands-on work in the industry?
Well, what do you mean by hands-on?
Uh,
Like as far as like steering wheel stuff or as just as
I would honestly overall, because it's one thing to be like, I don't want to say it like an enthusiast, like you
yeah.
maybe were around it but you didn't work on it, but like when was the moment you actually were actually doing things to cars? Like what was your earlier exposure where maybe you were
I
modifying
mean,
or learning about it?
I want to say I've been doing it almost my whole life just because
Huh.
I grew up around it.
Yeah.
Right out of high school, I actually went to an aviation school because that's what I thought I wanted to do. But then I realized really quickly that I don't want to work for anybody.
Hmm.
It would be, I don't know, I just don't like working for people. It was just easier to start a business and work for myself.
hmm how'd the aviation school help you out?
I mean, I learned a lot, to be honest. I learned a lot about welding and I learned a lot about aluminum, sheet metal, and stuff like that. I never continued and pursued it. But the one thing I did learn, aviation versus automotive, the aviation world is so clean compared to a lot of automotive stuff.
hmm Yeah, I mean, uh, what time period are we talking? 90s?
No, so I graduated high school in '06, and
Okay.
right out of that, I went straight to an aviation school. It was a
hmm
trade school, mainly because I couldn't afford to go to college. I was not ever on my mind. I didn't want to do that 4-year plan and get into debt and all that,
Yeah.
basically like a rat race or whatever they want to call it.
hmm So you and I
But
are pretty similar because I graduated in '06 too.
nice. Okay, yeah, no, I graduated in '06. We went straight to an aviation school, and I did that for 2 years, and I did it full time. So I basically got my A&P in 2 years, and in '08 I finished that and I got all my certificates. I just never pursued it after that.
hmm was I mean, when you got into the aviation school, did it take you a little time to kind of think about what you were wanting to do? Did you know pretty quick, like I'm definitely not doing aviation, but you can.
No, I mean I had the intent to pursue it like all the way. It's just once I finished school, I just kind of decided, you know, working for somebody isn't for me.
hmm
It's you'd work under somebody and they basically control your life for, because you're starting out. So you have to show up when they tell you. And
hmm
I just didn't really like that.
Yeah, yeah. So then, what'd you get into after that?
I honestly, I started doing the steering wheels kind of as a hobby when I was going to aviation school.
Okay.
And I would do like little epoxy repairs and stuff like that on steering wheels, and I'd throw them up online, and they would sell for pretty decent money. And I'm like, this isn't bad. And
hmm
it just kind of exploded from there. And then I know it says on one of the artworks that I have from that Max Grundy did for me, my business was basically established in 2010, which I think, that's kind of where it was after after aviation school was in '08, and then from there, there was a couple of years of me trying to figure out what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2010, I just decided, you know what, I can just do this and see where it takes me.
So then where was like that light up for steering wheels?
A friend of mine that I was going to aviation school with, he wanted to get some steering wheels done. He brought me like a '38 Ford Banjo, and he goes, "Hey, if you have time, can you kind of just fill the cracks, paint it, and give it back to me?" And I said, "Yeah, I can do that." And I did that a little bit here and there for him, and then I started doing a little bit for myself here and there, and that's just kind of where it started. I really didn't think I was ever going to get into steering wheels, but it just kind of happened.
I mean, that it sounds like a snowball.
Yeah, I mean, basically, a lot of it mainly started. There was a guy in Pomona, a big Zephyr dude. His name was Merv Atkins, and unfortunately, he recently did pass away. But I would go to his shop in Pomona and pick up like a bunch of cores. Like I had the 42 to 48 Lincoln wheels, which ended up being my favorite wheel. And finally, I got down to the end of them. I think I bought like 40 of them at one time from him. And I would just patch them and throw them online, and it worked. But then probably the last 15 of them were almost down all the way to the metal frame, so I really had no use for them.
Mm-hmm.
So from that, I just decided I'm going to try to make a mold. I'm going to try to cast them myself and see what happens.
So the gentleman you said that passed away, you said recently?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think he passed away, I want to say about 2 weeks ago
Oh
is when I
wow.
heard about his passing. Yeah, so it was very recent, but I mean, we'd known him probably 20 years or so. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's been in the industry forever. He's just done Lincoln parts, and he's been a big help to the Lincoln Zephyr community.
Wow. So one of the OGs, right?
Definitely, 100%. He was 100% OG, and as far as Lincoln Zephyr stuff, he knew everything.
So was he somebody that you got pretty close with?
Not very close. He liked what I did
Mm-hmm.
because I brought things back to life,
Yeah.
which basically he was going to throw them away. And he goes, "No one's going to do anything with that." And I brought him one and I showed it to him, and he goes, "This is almost nicer than it was when it was new,"
That's
is
cool.
what he told me.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, so then what are, in that era, that time period, like what were other like people that maybe inspired you uh early on like that?
Well, I mean, there was one guy that was always at like the Roadster show. He did steering wheels too. His name was Dennis from Quality Restorations. I always liked what he did, but he had a really bad attitude.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, he always looked down upon people like me. He's like, "Oh, you don't have any money. You don't need to be talking to me." And I'm like, "Well, you know what? That's 100% fine. It's okay."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just, started doing little things here and there. And from my early casting, I mean, I used to just do horn buttons and little projects like that. And then I figured out how to do the mold for the wheels that, it turned out good.
Mm-hmm.
And I was honestly doing it as a hobby, just messing around, seeing what I can do. But then everybody wanted to do it. It's like, "Hey, I want a wheel in this color, and
Yeah.
can you do that?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, no, I can do that. I can change the color. I can do basically whatever color you want."
Mm-hmm.
So I started experimenting with different dyes, different candies, and stuff like that.
So then, as you, because there's so many things that like get combined when I think of the steering wheels. I think of like, understanding resins, and I'm assuming, right, understanding resins, or uh, I don't know if you'd use any paint in that. I'm sure there's welding involved. Um, did you pretty much just once you started getting into your business, you just took the approach of I'm just going to start learning all these different things, or were you
No,
able?
well, I mean, as far as welding goes, I've never done any of the welding myself.
Okay.
I always want to tell people everything that I do has to be safe.
Yeah.
I'm not a certified welder, so I've always reached out to friends of mine that are certified welders because I don't want anything to happen.
Hmm.
So I used to do a lot of stuff with a good friend of mine, Clark Gilly. he used to be here in North Hollywood where I was, and unfortunately he moved to Colorado, so he's a little further away now.
Hmm.
And we still keep in contact. He's a great dude, but he was an amazing welder, and he did a lot of welding for me.
Yeah.
But as far as like the resins and the paints, that was kind of just something that I decided to learn on my own. And but yeah, you can, and I didn't know this when I was starting this, but you can add automotive paint to the urethane to tint the color on it.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
again, it's all stuff that nobody wants to tell you, and anybody that does the plastics and the urethanes and the resins, they don't want to share the information. So for me, it was all trial and error.
See, and that's part of what like really interests me in what you do because like what are the resources for
There, there's
like
there's none. I mean, nobody wants to share the information, which is really sad.
and we're talking there's probably anybody who was doing it. You're you're talking about an older generation that's, for lack of a better term, dying off. Uh, so that information goes away pretty quick at our age.
Yeah. Well, the one guy that I did kind of ask, and he's actually a really nice person, was Bob Koch. He did steering wheel restorations too. But I
Hmm.
did ask him, I'm like, hey, I have all these wheels that I don't really know what to do with them. And he recommended, like, hey, the first thing you need to do, buy a pressure tank. And I did. I was able to find one pretty cheap, and you have to pressurize everything to get the air out of it, the air bubbles and stuff like that. So it was just a learning curve from there. But once I had that, I mean, I kind of figured it out.
Hmm. Is there like, because I think of old factory manuals from people like Ford or businesses like just any of these old manufacturers. Did they like was there anything to read? Was there like
No, no, there's none of that. They never, I mean, if they shared any of that information, I was never able to find it.
huh?
But even if they did, I mean, that was like on a big scale manufacturing level,
Yeah.
and where they put out like thousands of products, and I don't put out thousands of products. I just, every mold is good for like 50 wheels, and
Hmm.
it was just a smaller scale.
So then, as far as like the build process of it, it was just figuring it out and just a couple people who were able to give you some thoughts.
Well, just little bits and pieces here and there. I mean, I took a lot of information from like little hobbyists. I just turned it into a bigger scale because you can learn a lot of stuff like online about pressure casting and stuff like that, but it's always smaller pieces. It's
Hmm.
never the size of a steering wheel. Everything has to be pressurized. And for a little hobbyist, it's fine. You can get like a 5 gallon pressure tank from Harbor Freight and you can run with that. But on a larger scale, I mean, I have a 60-gallon pressure tank for my
Huh.
wheels because the molds have to fit in there comfortably.
Wow, man. Yeah, I mean it's like I guess I'm just still just trying to wrap my head around. I can imagine how long do you think the process has taken you to get to this point where you,
I
where you
mean,
feel like it
again,
became reliable?
I want to say probably I was working on it 2 to 3 years before I finally was able to say, if you want your wheel done by the end of the week, I can get it done and I know it's going to turn out perfect.
Wow.
Because when I was starting out, everything was a guessing game. It was just like, oh man, I hope there's no bubbles. I hope the vents are in the right spot. I hope the frame isn't sticking out of the mold. I hope the color's right. There was just a lot of variables all over the place. And I mean, again, I want to say professionally, I've been doing this since probably 2016,
Hmm.
even though my artwork does say established in 2010, but
Yeah.
professionally, I want to say 2016 is when I really was able to be like, okay, if you want this in this color, I can make it happen.
Wow. That's a lot of trial and error.
Oh, and I tell people all the time, the first 50 wheels, probably the first 50, I screwed them up 100%. There was mess ups all around.
Were they like full customers? Were you kind of hobbying with it a little bit? Like, how was
No, I
that?
was hobbying with it, to be honest. It was 100% just me trying to see what worked,
Hmm.
trying to see what position I would leave the mold in for the bubbles to rise up correctly. So there's no air pockets and there's no this. And even though there's some information online that says, if you put the vents here, here, and here, it'll
Hmm.
work, I didn't have any luck with that. And then, I mean, over time, I finally figured out where to put the vents in the mold so there's no air pockets anymore.
Huh. And that's in my head. I'm thinking like when you're saying figuring out where to put those. You're were you probably looking at generic like mold? I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Like mold diagrams or mold information that it's like you can. It's kind of generalized, not
Well,
specific to the steering
no,
wheel.
no, not really. I mean, again, a lot of the stuff I kind of followed off of little model lists, people like doing like model car stuff and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I mean, like when I was starting, I think the second mold that I ever made, I had the steering wheel laying down and that didn't work at all.
Hmm.
So I finally figured out, I'm like, well, if I stand it up, the air has free passage to go straight up and all the vents are in the right spot. So if there's anything trapped, it'll go through these vents and there won't be any air bubbles. And then when you pressurize it, it does crush everything that is left. So it does become, I mean,
All right. Let's take a quick break from this episode to talk about one of my favorite products and today's sponsor, SATA. SATA has the RPS vented cup system, and it's one that I've been using for over a decade. I actually prefer the vented cup systems myself. It makes sure that you get all the material usage out of that thing. So when you get to that last part down here, it's not going to starve on you. It's easy to fill, refill. There's plenty. There's I think over 100 mixing ratios on here that you can use on the cup itself. And with your SATA gun, you're not going to have to put adapters, so it's giving you a little bit of weight savings there too. With their QCC, right here, you'd be able to actually just twist it on, and that's really it. Another thing that I really love about these cups is that it is flexible. So if you have to spray top, upside down, if you have to paint on the side, you can, do this many ways that you couldn't get from a lot of other cup systems like that. So it's something that gives it a really great usage for all the different directions you might be spraying. So if you want to learn more, visit SATAUSA.com today.
to the eye, bubble free.
Mm-hmm. So then let's. Sorry if I'm going to break this down because I am really interested in this. And
Oh,
when
it's
I
okay. Yeah.
when I think of like the earlier days, like did you know you had to do a molding process, or were you like trying to just repair steering wheels?
Well, I mean, in the early days, I was just trying to repair them. I used to use PC7, which is recommended for steering wheel repair, and then I would just paint them. But the problem with that, you do all this work, you fill the cracks, and you paint it, and it looks great. But 2 to 3 months down the road, the cracks come right back.
Okay.
And it was just so discouraging because it's like you put all this work into a wheel, and 2 to 3 months down the road, the cracks are right back in the same position again.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's something that that's a subject for me even when it comes to like just automotive paint in general. Right. Automotive paint, any kind of repair work or anything like that. When I think of like an old steering wheel, especially where there's stress cracks or anything like that, okay, so let's say you repair it. What's to say that because it's a old steering wheel that's 60, 70, 80 years old, okay, you repaired it and then 2 weeks later another crack forms in a different spot because it's a old steering wheel.
Yeah, and that's a very common issue because again, the plastic is just that old.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't realize that the metal frame inside the wheel, it expands, it contracts with the weather. So if it's on a hot day, it'll stretch. If it's on a cold day, it's going to contract and get smaller. And that's the reason the cracks always come back.
Ah, okay.
But if you do it with all new plastic, then you're not going to have that issue anymore.
So would you say that another part is like the new repair versus the old material also?
I mean, the problem was always like the old plastic just doesn't really want to stick with the epoxy.
Okay.
But if it's all new plastic, then you don't have that issue anymore because everything is brand new.
Yeah. So then you went from the repairs, and then the repairs probably let you really see how the process could work.
Well, the repairs were, I mean, again, they would be great for a couple of months, but then you'd have a customer telling you, hey, the wheel is cracked.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, well, send it back and I'll do it again. But it just gets to a certain point where you just get tired of doing
Repairs.
that.
Yeah, it's not worth it at that point.
It's not. It's definitely not worth it because you're working for free at that point. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, it could easily come back up, and then this customer who may not exactly understand the concept of the whole thing is like, hey, well, most of your old steering wheel is there still.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Any problems could continue to develop.
Yeah, but again, the plastic, like you said, 50, 60, sometimes 70, 80 years old. Um, I mean, it's bound to crack again. It's just, it comes with age.
Yeah, and it's not like you see the metal on the inside either.
No, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I do now, obviously, you see all the metal because a lot of the stuff that I do is the translucent, which people love to see that. But back in the day, no, you didn't see that inside stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And my experience with steering wheels, of especially the era that you specialize in, we would do little repairs and stuff like that on a lot of these cars because, there's not a lot of options out there for fresh steering wheels. So, back in the day, we would always just do little repairs and we would paint the steering wheel. And I'm sure painting the steering wheel has its own problems.
It does. I mean, a lot of the steering wheels, some of the factory stuff was painted, but a lot of the higher end cars like Cadillac, it was a cast wheel. It was never painted. But like Ford and stuff like that, and the same thing with Chevy, especially like in the 50s, a lot of their stuff, it is painted and stuff comes with that. The paint gets chipped, the paint gets scratched.
Yeah.
But with a cast wheel, you're never going to have that problem. If it gets scratched, you can literally take some sandpaper, buff it, shine it, and you're good to go again. It's never going to really show.
And when you're saying cast, you mean like a fully like cast aluminum, cast steel wheel?
No, I meant like a cast urethane, like fully cast plastic. Yeah.
Okay. Because that was something that I knew about it like a little bit when it came to like the casting of the plastics and stuff. Do you have like original molds?
None of my molds are original molds. Every mold that I have made it myself from an original wheel.
Mm-hmm. So then, which, I mean, even if you had original molds, they're pretty much useless at this point.
Like, even if I mean, people always offer me, like, hey, I have these molds for whatever certain wheels, but I tell them they're not good anymore.
Yeah.
They're past their shelf life, they're expired, you can't use them anymore.
So you can, I guess you can't even use them to recreate another mold, could you?
I mean, it depends on what the mold is made out of. A lot of people, they do it out of silicone. And like even in the 80s, people would do that. They would do them out of silicone. But in this time, I mean, all the materials that I'm using and that anyone else that does casting, the materials are so much better today versus back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to use their stuff anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, anyone that's tried to do the wheels or restorations or all that, they all have their own methods. And I'm not saying, and I tell people all the time, I don't know if I'm doing it right. I just know I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And it's turning out really good from what I'm doing. But if I buy a mold from someone else, it might be vented differently. It might be, everyone has their own way of doing things.
Yeah. So then let's dive a little bit further into the process and like kind of ground zero where like a customer or somebody who's interested in having you do some work for them, where are they starting? Are they sending you the wheel that they're looking to recreate?
Well, if they have, like, let's say they want to send me a 38 Chevy wheel, I have the mold for it already. So they can just send me their wheel, doesn't matter the condition, and I'll knock the plastic off of it. And I'm basically starting from scratch. But if I don't have the mold for it, I would have to find a really nice original and make the mold off of that. And, that's not always possible because sometimes finding
Hmm.
really nice original wheels is hard.
Yeah.
But luckily, with the technology today of 3D printing and everything that can be done on a computer, I mean, I've had people 3D print me a steering wheel that I made a mold from that.
Huh. Man, that sounds like it makes your process a lot easier.
I mean, as far as that goes, yeah, because I don't have to worry about, trying to Bondo and paint
Yeah.
and all this other stuff, a really junky old wheel, when you can just do it on the computer, draw all your images and print it out. Then you can prime it, paint it, have a beautiful master to start from, and you make a mold off of that. And then everything after that is going to be just as nice.
Which gives you a repeatable database, I guess.
I mean, yeah. I mean, again, every mold that I make, it's good for 50 units roundabout, depending on the shelf life of the mold.
Okay. That's I mean, how many molds have you gone through like that the mold is done?
Oh, 48 Chevy, I've done 3 molds. So I've done probably for the 42 to 48 Chevy Banjo, I've probably done over 150 wheels.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when you say banjo, that's like the wheel that has like the thick bars running through it?
Yeah, on the 42 to 48 Chevy, they are flat bars, but yeah, there's 3 bars on each side. So, but yeah, that's what they consider a banjo wheel. It just has like kind of like banjo strings on a guitar.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you're designing molds and building them, all these. I'm sure you get ones that are very specific cars where you're probably definitely not finding anything or
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, like with the one-off wheels, I've had those too. Like I've made molds before and I've only used it once,
Mhm.
but I have to factor that into the price and I need to tell the customer, hey, look, you're the only one that's ever going to do this.
Yeah.
So, I have to charge you a hell of a lot more because I can't use this mold again.
Hmm. Yeah. So then the mold is one thing, and you had mentioned about just the internal structure, the steel part of the wheel, and that you're you're having these made from scratch too in the process. You're not reusing the inner structure of a wheel.
Well, it depends on the wheel because a lot of them I am reusing the original parts.
Okay.
And depending on the wheel, like a lot of the 16-inch, the ones that I've cut down, I do remake those from scratch and then everything is done from scratch.
Hmm.
But I want to say like 75% of the wheels that I do, they are original wheels that are being recast again.
Okay. So you're able to save that internal structure a pretty decent amount of the time then.
A decent amount of the time. I mean, it's been very rare that it's just beyond fixing it. Like,
Hmm.
there's been a couple of wheels that customers have sent me, like they've been in an accident, and I tell them outright, like, hey, this wheel, it's we can't save it. There's the outer hoop is bent, like everything is just out of control. It just doesn't work.
Hmm.
And for the most part, it's just cheaper to find another one.
Yeah. So the h- would it be what do you call it? Would it be this casting process of actually getting your mold on the? Man, sorry, I'm looking for terminologies here and I'm digging them out of wherever I
Oh no,
can.
no, it's okay. Well, I mean, so like, I mean, I guess your question was about recasting.
Yeah, like when you have the skeleton of the wheel and actually putting that to the mold, that process of uh, getting the resins on there and all that. That in my head, it sounds pretty hard, like lining the
I
things
mean,
up.
it's not hard when you have the experience to do it.
For sure.
Um, but it's honestly not hard. Once you have a mold made, you center the frame of the wheel, the metal, the internal, in the mold. You make sure that it's not touching any part of the mold, because if it's touching the mold, you're going to see the frame through the wheel when the plastic is on it. But no, it's basically not that hard. It's really not.
Okay.
I know
And
it might sound complicated, but I mean, if you like look at the process, what I'm doing, I'm like step by step by step, and you see what I'm doing, you're gonna be like, oh, that actually makes perfect sense.
yeah, yeah. So then,
But it,
figuring out the resins, was that a heavy lift there of figuring out how the plastics?
yeah, that's been a challenge. I mean, even up until a couple of years ago, because sometimes like the company will tell you, hey, the material is UV stable, and it turns out not.
Ah,
So a lot of this, but I tell everyone everything that I do has a lifetime warranty through me. So if something does happen with your wheel, I will take care of it, and I'm not going to charge you anything for taking care of it.
that's awesome.
But I've had a lot of wheels, or a lot of not a lot, but I've had a couple of customers tell me like, hey, the material is changing color,
Hmm.
and then I just tell them, well, send me some photos. And I used to use a different company, and I don't want to disclose what their name is. Just I
Hmm.
don't want to talk bad about them,
Yeah,
but
no, I
they
understand.
they changed their formula and didn't tell anybody, and their stuff started to turn yellow, especially the clear and the pearl whites.
Hmm.
So I had to switch companies as far as those materials go. So now I'm using a company that their material is 100% UV stable. So the clear stays clear, the pearl white stays pearl white like it's supposed to. It's nice and crisp, and it's just one of those learning curves. And I tell everyone all the time, like, I'm learning along with everybody else.
Yeah,
And it's just what it is. I mean, I started this without any help from anybody, so I'm learning too, and I tell people that.
yeah.
But if something with your wheel is wrong, I will correct it 100%, no questions asked.
So the UV stable part, is it pretty much a discoloration thing, or does it?
It's just a discoloration thing. That's the main thing. Like it's mainly like pearl whites and clears. So
Okay.
if I do a wheel that's pearl white, I'm just adding pearl white pigment. I'm just not adding anything else, no dyes, no colors. It's just straight pearl powder. And then I've noticed, and it hasn't happened a lot, but it has happened, and the white would turn yellow.
Hmm.
But since I've changed companies on my material, that does not happen anymore.
Wow. Man, and when I look through your Instagram, like the wheels, you go through a color range. I mean, it's from flake.
Oh, it can be anything. Everything's all my material starts off as a clear. Everything I do starts off as a clear. I tint it myself. I dye it. I can add anything you want, flake, color, whatever you want to it.
So are you? Do you have to polish the resin afterwards?
Oh yeah. So once you get the wheel out of the mold, there's the injection points that you need to cut them off, and then there's the seam line that you have to sand off and polish the whole wheel.
Hmm. And my mind's going in like so many different directions here because you know, it's one thing to have, uh, actually not even because like there's the factory steering wheels. You're still possibly dealing with chrome. Uh, and I've seen some of the lowrider stuff, and you know it just gets crazy. I love seeing how crazy some of these steering wheels do get.
Well, I mean, I tell my customers, whatever you want to do, I will work with you to do it. I've had people engrave, chrome, gold plate, you name it. And I've been more than happy to work with them on getting it done.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean they're the. I think what really draws me to the steering wheel, it's like your genre of steering wheel, which I guess what's the range? What's the what year
I mean,
range are
I've
we
done anything
talking?
from like the 30s up until the 60s, but a lot of the stuff that I mainly work with is the 30s and the 40s.
Yeah, and that my point in that and saying is like, man, like when you think of the wheels of not even just the wheels, there were certain interior parts and certain interiors on cars in that time range that they were so beautiful. Like the design of the steering wheel, the design of the dash, like it was like, I'm sorry, but when I get into newer cars today and it's just some flat
Oh,
big
they're so boring.
screen,
It's so boring. I
boring.
mean, I love driving me driving my classic cars is like therapy. It's relaxing. It's just a feel good sensation. Like you get in your classic car and it's just great. It's
Yeah,
perfect. And you get in your new car, yes, it's reliable, but you don't have that same feeling.
it's not the same. I mean, there's
No,
like a
it's not.
soul missing from there.
Yeah. And a lot of that, I mean, it's just boring. It's black, it's gray,
Yeah.
it's nothing. It's just they're all generic.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
you get in your classic car, oh my God, everything is beautiful inside. They thought about your interior. They thought about the steering wheel, the gauges, the dash, everything they thought about it.
it was like they thought of you know, we say the driving experience, right? Like a lot of manufacturers use that term. These people were really thinking of the driving experience because, like, when you sit down and what you're looking at makes you feel good. At least for me, like
Well,
that's
no, and I agree, but you think about it this way, like if you've ever seen a car catalog from back in the 50s,
yeah,
they gave you so many options as far as color.
yeah,
They gave you so many things to choose from. Today, no, they don't give you anything. They say, this is what we have on the lot. If you like it, cool. If not, oh well.
yeah, yeah, and the intricate designs that were in, you know, your steering wheels. I love seeing a lot of the centerpieces to them. But a lot of people don't realize there was a lot of factory wheels that alone were like it looks like it was a custom showpiece.
Well, I mean, a good example for that, Oldsmobile had a beautiful thing, and I believe it was the 54 Oldsmobile steering wheel. They have a globe in the center of the center button. Behind it is a mirror. So it's reflecting the globe. So it looks like it's a full circle globe with that mirror, even though it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, again, things like that, they don't think about that anymore.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I think the '60s Pontiacs had like these not like the mirror, but it had like a holographic type centerpiece
Okay.
with like patterns in it. Uh, and it was just like, again, you sit in the car and like that's like at least for me, it grabs my attention right away. And it's like you're looking at
Yeah.
this thing, and it's like setting the stage for you like driving.
Yeah. But again, back in the day, they thought about stuff. Everything today, it's so generic and boring.
Yeah, and that's what at least, and it's not hating on modern custom steering wheels because I do enjoy them. Uh, but sometimes when I see a car and it's like it's too modern and it's not flowing with the design of this car.
Well, I mean, again, today's cars, they're meant to get you from point A to point B safely, and that's it. There's no other thing with it, in my opinion. It's not, you don't get the same feeling.
Yeah. And well, and I say that, and I'm saying like even like the when it comes to like custom steering wheels today, all these machine steering wheels, like I think there's some great ones out there. Don't get me wrong, but man, I'd love to see more of these like classic modern recreations of a steering wheel.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. I really do. And I'm like a lot of the lowrider guys, I'm still trying to get in with the lowrider community, I guess, as you want to say it, because some of their builds, oh my God, they're beautiful. They engrave everything, they chrome everything. But then you look inside their interior and you see a little billet steering wheel that just doesn't make sense. It's not period correct. It's whatever they could find online that they could kind of go with their interior, but it just doesn't fit.
Yeah.
And they can have like a $300,000 Impala, and you look inside and you see that wheel, and it completely kills the interior.
On the lowrider scene, I just think of you in particular because it's like the lowrider scene is so crazy, like it's so crazy good with the engraving, the plating, the paintwork, airbrush work. Like there's so many aspects to like these lowriders that it's like every square inch there's something. There's something
There
for
is.
you to look
Oh,
at.
and I love them. I love the lowrider guys. The paint jobs are amazing. I love the color, the contrast. I like how they get everything to flow together. And I'm looking at it and it's like I never thought those colors would go good together,
Yeah.
but they do.
And it's like your one of your wheels is like the perfect centerpiece because again you're sitting in the car like that's
Yeah, you're in the car 100% of the time. And I mean, I've done wheels for lowrider cars. I have. I've done a couple of them here and there. But I wish I can get more into the lowrider community and do more for them because I think it would really elevate the level of their car versus just buying a random wheel online and, calling it good.
yeah, we actually have done. We have some good connections in the lowrider world. Fortunately, on this podcast, we've had some great artists, guys like Loki Calderon, Manuel Cicernos, Bugs. There's been a bunch of people we've had on the podcast. So hopefully, if they listen to this, definitely hit you up because that is such a great piece to add to a lowrider.
Oh, I agree. And it would go with their paint job 100% with the clear and the metal flake. It would set everything like it would tie together so well.
And I think in the same subject with the lowriders, I thought I saw someone post a before and after on their lowrider. I think it was a yellow car. I'm sorry, I don't have the specific car build, but I know I saw like a before and after of their wheel, and it was regular, and after, I want to say it was yellow, but
Okay.
it was like right after you see the after, and it was like, man, that just popped right there. It just
Yeah.
filled in the void that was missing there.
And it does. It really does fill in that void because I mean, again, you're those lowrider guys. They kind of think everything out. I mean, as far as the paint,
Yeah.
the interior, the engraving. I just feel like the steering wheel is always just left out and it's an afterthought. It's like, oh, we didn't think about it, but this looks okay. We'll put it in there.
We're there because, and now we're in this side of the custom. This is definitely, I can definitely see you doing some pretty complicated steering wheels on that. Have there been any that have challenged you like that, where it's like, oh, now I have engraving in here, and I have all these different aspects to it.
Well, there's been a lot of, I mean, people have asked me to do engraved wheels before, and it's not a problem. The one engraver that I've personally used is Hernan
Oh
at
yeah,
Engrave It, and
yeah.
I do like the work that he does. I really do. But he's always just so booked and backed up. But that's because he's really good at what he does.
Yes, he is. Yeah, I've been lucky to work on a few projects with Hernan.
So my biggest problem with that, at least when I was starting to do this, is if the wheel doesn't come out right, I have to strip this wheel, get it re-gold plated, re-chrome plated, and start from scratch, and then I'm paying for it.
Yeah.
But luckily, so far, all the engraved wheels that I've done, they've turned out really good.
So like if the wheel is engraved and or maybe gold plated on top of that or even just chrome plated, does that change your process on the resin?
It doesn't change the process on the resin. I just have to be a lot more careful to make sure that it does turn out 100% right the
Yeah.
first time because there's no going back. Like
Hmm.
if there's a flaw, then I have to strip the wheel. And when I do strip the wheel, I'm going to damage the chrome and the gold.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure right there.
It is. It's a lot of pressure and it's a lot of things that I'm thinking about because it's like, well, if I damage this customer's wheel, then I have to pay to get it redone. And then now I'm not making anything at the end of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like much maybe to some people, but where when you're talking about again even a gold plated wheel, that's gold plated and engraved. Hernan puts a lot of work into the stuff that he engraves and has
oh, and
plated.
it's beautiful. He does
Yeah.
amazing work, but it is expensive, and I get it. I 100% understand that it needs to be expensive because he puts his effort into it and it shows.
Yeah. Two niche aspects colliding to me. I think
Yeah,
it's
well, I've worked
awesome.
on a couple of projects with him, and all of them have turned out great. So I'm very happy whenever I get to work with him. I'm excited to do it.
Yeah. Have there are there any projects like that really challenged you?
Well, the first one that I did, I guess it did challenge me mainly because I did have to be careful with it. But now I've, I kind of nailed everything down as far as my casting, so I know if there's going to be an issue ahead of time, and I'll make sure that I fix it
Hmm.
if there is going to be a problem. But now, I mean, I've been doing this for so long, it's pretty easy for me just to get it done.
Yeah, yeah. Do you ever work with any like designers or anything? Any car design people?
I mean, I've worked with Rick Dorr before, and he's a great guy to work with. I've done one wheel. The last car that he supposedly built was the Aquarius, and well, not the Aquarius. I'm sorry, I forgot what it was called. The Pantheon.
Okay.
Yeah, so I worked with him on that, and that was a little bit of a challenge, mainly because it's Rick Dorr and he's very picky.
Yeah.
And the color that he wanted on the wheel, it was a pearl wheel, but it wasn't a white. It was more like a cream.
Hmm.
So on that one, I actually had to mix a couple of pearl pigments to get the color that he wanted. But it turned out great when it was done, and it matched his interior perfectly.
So you have to go through a color matching process then, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, everything that I do, like I said from the beginning, everything starts off as a clear.
Yeah.
So I'm tinting everything myself to what the customer wants. And I always ask, like, send me a sample of your interior, send me a sample of your paint, whatever you want me to match it to, send me something so I can see it in person.
Yeah. Yeah, that's got to be hard to kind of juggle between a car that you don't necessarily have in front of you.
Well, I mean, you basically have to become like a painter at the same time versus what I'm doing, like is casting.
Mhm.
But I mean, I have a lot of paint experience because I've always loved custom painting as far as like candies and stuff like that. Like right out of high school, I loved doing lace and all those crazy colors and stuff like that. I just did it for myself,
Okay. Okay.
but I liked it so much, and I have a lot of experience mixing colors, and I think that just plays a really good part in it, just because I love to do that.
So not to dive too far away from the steering wheels, but now you got my interest in this custom paint work that you were doing.
Well, it was mainly hobby stuff. I mean, like little panels here or around that I would decorate my house with and stuff like that. Like little rear clips of cars. Like I would do the back ends of like I have a '59 Cadillac rear clip that we turned into a couch, and I did all the flake on that, and I did the tangerine top coat on top of it and everything. So it's, I love flake, I love stuff like that, and I love candy.
You're like in the area for a lot of that stuff too.
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%. I mean, a lot of that stuff for sure is down here.
Were there any custom painters in particular that you connected with?
I mean, when I started out, no, I didn't know anyone when I was starting out. I was a nobody. I didn't know any of the cool people I know today. But now, like Kyle from K Daddy Customs, I do a lot of work with him because he does a lot of the really crazy paint jobs for the cars that he does, and a lot of their customers, they want a cool wheel to match.
Yeah.
So I'll just talk to Kyle and be like, "Hey, tell me what materials you're using on the colors, and shoot me some photos, and I'll make a wheel happen."
So working with a painter like especially a custom painter like him, that's got to be a big benefit when you're working on these colors then.
It is. I mean, I love working with Kyle. Kyle's such a good dude,
Yeah.
honestly.
I've s-
He's such a good dude.
I've seen his work for years. It's really awesome stuff to see.
Well, one day I want him to paint something for me. Um, I just gotta find the time to work on my own stuff, which is hard.
Yeah, trust me, I know how that goes.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us in the industry, it's we spend a lot of our time working on everyone else's stuff, but our projects will sit there in the long term shelf life.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta pay the bills. I get how it
Yeah.
goes. It's just I have for myself, which is unfortunately really sad, one wheel for my personal car. That's all I've ever done for myself is one
Really?
wheel. Yep. That's it. I have one wheel that I did for myself and one of my Mercs, and that's it. I haven't had a chance to do anything else for myself.
Wow.
I have a lot of display wheels that I'll bring to shows and stuff like that, that is all for sale, but it's not for me.
Yeah. So jumping back into more on the steering wheel specifics, I think of these centerpieces, you know, because they're all a little bit different. You get different unique styles you can recreate.
Oh,
And
I know. I mean, I like working with customers that want a unique center button. Like they want their logo, they want something special in there, and I like doing that versus like just the stock original.
hmm
But I mean, again, basically on a center button, we can put anything you want in there.
yeah, yeah, and you see them and all the wheels that you post up. There's some cool centerpieces to them.
Oh, there is. And again, I mean, a lot of people, they tell me like, I have an idea, but I really don't know how to bring it to life. And I just tell them, draw me something, give me an idea, anything. And I work with a guy that does 3D printing and spin casting. So he will draw up a design on the computer and he will make me an actual solid piece that I can have chromed and placed into the center button that I can cast the urethane around it.
That's great. I mean, that's man, the technology changes that we're having now versus when you started. How much easier is it helping you with a lot of that?
Oh, it's a lot. I mean, stuff like that on the computer, like 3D printing, casting, all that stuff that they do on the computer, it's amazing. Like the center buttons, a lot of the stuff that I do is called lost wax. So they'll make something in wax and then they make a mold around that, and then I have a mold for my whatever emblem or design I need.
hmm Yeah, I mean it's it's got to be really cool to be able to see these changes firsthand while you're, you
Oh,
know,
I mean, I tell people all the time I love what I do, which and it does show in my work that I do like what I do. So I
yeah.
kind of go above and beyond to make sure the customer gets kind of what they wanted, like in their head.
hmm
Because it's hard to explain to somebody like, hey, I want this.
Yeah.
And a lot of my customers, they're really cool and they're easy to work with, so we always make it happen.
hmm Yeah. What when it comes to these the time frame for a steering wheel, I mean, how long, what are you usually what's your turnaround time on these at this point?
So that always depends on the time of year. Because during the winter time, there's not a lot of people that really want to spend the money to do a wheel. They're kind of dealing with Christmas and all the other stuff. But the spring and the summer, that's when everybody wants to get their stuff done. And the time frame, it also varies each project, but it can be anywhere from like 2 months to 6 months. It just depends.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, some wheels they're easy to do, and I can tell a customer, hey, I'll have it if it's just a generic basic wheel.
hmm
I can tell them, hey, 2 weeks and it'll be done.
Yeah. Yeah, but most of the time, you would you say you're doing a lot of this custom, mostly custom steering wheels?
Yeah, a lot of the time I'm doing mostly custom wheels. Stock wheels, I don't do too much of them. I mean, I do a lot of work for the Chevy guys, and they're strictly original stuff, so they don't
Okay.
want any crazy colors. They just want straightforward back to what it was originally.
hmm And you know, you and I talked. I don't know, was it a couple weeks ago? And one of the things we were talking about briefly was just other people in the industry that are doing this type of work.
Hmm.
And are you seeing is there any, I don't want to say interest if that sounds bad, but like younger generations to even think of doing something like this? Like does it seem like it's on anyone's radar to you?
Not really. A lot of the younger people, they don't really seem interested in doing anything with classic car stuff. A lot of the people that are doing the steering wheels right now, they are on the older side, and a couple of them have retired here and there. And everyone is always telling me, you're going to be the only one left because there's not a lot of the younger generation that wants to take over what the older people have been doing.
hmm Because I think of the last podcast episode I did with Tom Utley. He does recreations of the vintage plaques that you see on old machinery.
Okay.
And I put it in a similar category where you can hear a plaque. Like there's plaques today on a lot of things, and they're
Right.
just a logo, a name, or anything. The plaques we're talking about, they're beautiful, just like these steering wheels. They had a character to them, and he was on the same side of like, well, there's not a lot of people that are really interested in this. People in the industry are interested. They want to have this plaque recreated, to better than brand new, like he's doing. But there's not a lot of people that are actually doing that. So
No, a lot of the younger generation, I don't think they're really interested in doing it.
you think it's interest or exposure? Do they even know it's like an avenue?
I mean, personally, I just think they don't want to do it.
Hmm.
I just think the younger generation, they would, not everyone, of course, but a majority of the younger generation, they just kind of want to play video games and watch TV.
Yeah, I have my I've had my days playing video games, and I got to the point where it's like, yeah, but I live here. I can't,
Yeah.
that's a whole other world that it's like you spend so much time on that.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, a lot of people that do, I have a couple of friends that that's all they used to do, like in high school. They would play video games like all day. But then I would always tell them, okay, but now what? Like you beat the game, you
yeah,
have nothing really to show for it in real life. What's
now
next?
you got to do this game.
Yeah, yeah. So it's always like you gotta kind of do something that actually shows a result versus something online that no one knows you did.
And that's with you saying like showing a result like that. That's man, I think of both of you guys. I think of the wheel is like the amount of work you put into it, and then that end result is so freaking cool, man. Like that's how I feel about it. And
Well, I mean, I tell people all the time, I love what I do. I really do. I'm very fortunate that everyone so far they do like what I do and
yeah.
it pays my bills and I get to do what I do every day
Hmm.
as an artist or as a craftsman or whatever you want to call it. But it pays the bills and I love what I do. It's perfect.
Yeah. Would you like to see more people get involved in what you're doing?
Oh, I would like that. Yeah, of course.
I mean, how there it's another one that's tough because again, just like you started off, there was like there's no resources really. You are the resource.
And I don't mind sharing. That's the funny thing too. It's like I don't mind sharing my information, what I've learned. A lot of the older guys, they don't want to share their information. They're like, "No, you're not going to get to learn what I did and
Yeah.
blah whatever." And I'm like, "No, if you want to learn how to do it, I'll be happy to help you because I don't think you're going to go out there and do exactly what I do."
And I think that's a big difference with our generation because it everyone in our generation feels the same way. And I think it's cuz we got to experience that of like, and I hate the word gatekeeper, but like it's kind of that
Yeah, but
where
you're right. That's exactly what it was because when I was starting off, I asked people that did steering wheel restorations. I asked a couple of them and didn't even want to give me the time of day. They just
yeah.
like, no, we've learned it on our own, whatever. Whatever their dumb excuse was.
Hmm.
But they did not want to share any information at all.
And I try to wrap my head around that too, because it doesn't make sense to me, whether it's like a lack of foresight. Because in my head, I go, okay, if you keep that mentality, you are closing it off. Like you're not giving opportunity for a next generation to come in, because the reality is you're going to die one day.
Well, they don't want that though. That's the thing. They don't want another person to come take over because they feel like they need to be the only one that does it. And I'm not going to mention his name, but he was totally like that because I asked the other guy that did the steering wheel restorations. I saw him at the shows, and I just asked him, "Hey, do you have any tips?" Or he's like, "No, nothing at all." I'm like, "Okay." Um, I learned how to do it all on my own, and unfortunately for him, I've taken a lot of his customers for that exact reason because
Yeah.
I'm easier to deal with.
Yeah. And again, I try to wrap my head around it, and it's like, It's like there's a feast or famine mentality behind it.
There's room for everyone
Yeah.
in the car industry. There really is. Like there's room for everybody to do whatever they want to do and to make their money. They don't have to think they're the only one that can do that, because they're not. Like with the technology today, anyone can do this.
Yeah, I actually I brought this I say this ad nauseum on the podcast, is like I think 3D printing is gonna save things like this, because the processes that we had before for like things like casting, or duplicating whatever it is that you're gonna make, well, 3D printing makes that a lot easier.
It does. And 3D printing has saved my ass so many times when I can't find a really good wheel to make. Like there's a grip section on a certain steering wheel that I just could not find an original wheel that had the pattern that was good enough to make a mold off of it. So I had a friend of mine 3D print this grip section on the wheel, and it turned out better than new.
Wow.
So then all I had to do was put these little sections onto the wheel, glue them together, make sure everything fit correctly with the rest of the wheel, and then I made a mold off of that, and it turned out beautiful.
Yeah, I mean that I feel like that gives more access for the younger generations, where there's a lot of stuff that maybe we've done previously that as we figured it out, like the process was longer, and maybe for us it was fine and we figured it out and we figured out how to tighten it and make it more efficient. But something like that I feel like would make these other generations be more interested in, like, oh, yeah, I guess that makes it more accessible for me.
Connie here from the Working Class Women and a proud sponsor of today's episode. Back in 2019, we teamed up with SATA USA to create the Pro Series Ladies Paint Suit, the first paint suit designed specifically for women. Every feature was built to solve the problems we've dealt with in the traditional suits, starting off with the princess cut that gives you a tailored fit, no more baggy and oversized feel. We all know the anxiety that it brings when you're leaning over a panel. The built-in knee pads definitely add some comfort. The traditional zippers on each side that give you easy pocket access or even better airflow when you need it. The pinstripes that go down the suit are actually carbon fiber lines that help with the static control. These suits are also washable. And of course, you can find our original Girls Behind the Gun logo that's on the back, along with the Goddess Behind the Gun design that's on the shoulder. And these aren't just gear. These are representing of progress. They've helped break down the barriers and make a real difference even in my own career. So grab yours today at aworkingclass.bigcartel.com or through your local SATA distributor. Are you outside the United States? Your best option is our online store. And ladies, just a reminder, you have a place in this industry too.
To do that.
Well, like on the wheel that I'm talking about, if I were to replicate this section, it's basically just a bunch of detail lines on the grips on like the 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock position of a steering wheel. And It had like a really nice detail. And if I were to do that and try to replicate that, it probably would have taken me like a solid week to finally tune everything so it was good to make a mold. And that would be my full-time job for a week, trying to get this detail. And instead, someone printed it on a computer and 3D printed it and gave it to me and said, here you go. And it didn't take any time at all.
Do you think, because the artist brain, a lot of us artists, we're used to digging down into the dirt like that. You're saying, and I'm describing that as that week, right? That week of like, I'm going to create this very detailed, specific thing. And like, I feel as artists, like, it's like, I don't know, sometimes I feel like we think that that's what you have to do in order to deserve that finished product.
I mean, I do feel like you do too, because it gives you that sense of satisfaction that like, I did it.
Yeah.
But in that week, financially, I did a bunch of other projects and made money versus this one project, which was grueling and time consuming. And
and that's what I mean, is like finding that, I understand the sentiment of that, because that's like when plotters were coming out, and like, you know, a lot of custom painters would think that's cheating. Versus,
I mean, yes and no, because okay, yeah, you took the easy way out, but from a business standpoint, you've you've saved a whole week of work.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so that's how I see it, because
yeah.
I can do that. I could have got that grip section perfect if I had a whole week, but I did a bunch of other projects in that week and made the money on it
Yeah.
versus, you know, just working on one project alone.
Well, a lot of those things become unsustainable at that point, you know, because
Yeah.
that maybe that one specific project, maybe you were able to get the money out of it if you did it by hand and you had the right customer and all that. But again, if you have access to something that can tighten up that process, you're gonna win.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And
And I'm very thankful that 3D printing is a thing of. I mean, I've seen so many cool things that are 3D printed these days. It's amazing. It really is.
yeah, but and that's where I go to, because I understand the sentiment as an artist. Like, I totally understand the sentiment, but you also have to find that happy ground where it's like, well, is it worth your time spending an entire week on this specific detail?
I mean, it's really not, in my opinion. It's really not worth the whole week of work to get one wheel done for one mold.
Yeah.
Maybe you're going to get two or three customers on board for this specific wheel, but it's not worth it.
And that's what makes me think that a lot of this technology that's helping us now, I think that would help the next generations look at it and be like, oh, I guess I could do some cool steering wheels with the use of this in a
Yeah.
different way than what maybe you had to start with.
Well, I mean, with like 3D printing, it's amazing. There's a customer of mine. He wants to do and I've never done a wheel for Burning Man, and I just never thought I would ever do anything for that Burning Man show.
Yeah.
But he wants to do a specific wheel for his art car that he's gonna cruise around in at Burning Man, and he asked me, he's like, "Hey, if I give you a 3D printed wheel, can you copy it?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, that's not a problem, and but let me see it what it looks like ahead of time." And he sent me his photos, and I told him, "Okay, that's definitely something we can work with." And this was all 3D printed from his design, scratch built, whatever he did on the computer.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was not my taste,
Hmm.
but I'm just happy to kind of branch out and be like, yeah, I can do that. That's fine. Let's give it a try.
Yeah. See, and what's sometimes I feel like some of the conflict with some of the generations that want to, again, the gatekeeping part is like, oh, well, you guys have it easier than us. And it's like, well, okay, that's a product of, you know, where we've gone, you know, where we
Yeah,
are in society.
right.
So that's not like, should they be punished for that? Like
Yeah, I
we,
mean, not everything has to be a weak challenge.
yeah,
It really doesn't. I mean, it's so much better because, I mean, back to that one wheel that I had 3D printed the grips on. I got so many other projects done within that week that customers were happy with that they got their stuff
yeah,
done versus me being a week behind and then setting my whole schedule behind, you know, who knows how long.
all while still being the artist.
Yeah, right.
So that's, again, my mind starts going to that. You know, when I think of the next generations, you think of the old gatekeeper mentality, and like trying to like break that down of like, okay, well, why? Like, why was that happening? I've experienced that myself.
Oh, I have
And
to. I've experienced it many times. And I had a customer, I did a wheel for him, and he asked me, hey, if you don't mind me asking, I wanted to do the armrests on my car. Would you mind telling me what you did? And I told him, look, I will show you 100% what I did. If you want to try to make the armrests yourself, I'll tell you all the materials you need. I'll tell you everything. I can answer any question because he was just a really hands on guy.
yeah,
And I don't mind sharing that information because I know at the end of the day, he's not going to go and make a million steering wheels.
yeah, yeah, and he may call you back to fix his armrest.
Well, he might do that, but it's not only that. At the end of the day, he's gonna be like, he was actually helpful.
Yeah,
He's gonna
absolutely.
recommend me to his friends and whoever, because he just at the end of the day is gonna be like, he was actually a really helpful person. I appreciate that.
And that's a good one. That's a good aspect when we think of like the feast or famine mentality. Just because someone's asking you about your process, like you said, it's not like they're going to start building steering wheels tomorrow.
Right.
You can explain it to someone. They can maybe barely execute the one, but to keep it going,
Well,
that's a whole
that's
other
the thing.
thing.
It is, but the thing is too, and the funny thing is this: a lot of people, I mean, because there you can make a lot of money off of recasting steering wheels. You really can,
Mhm.
because a lot of people will pay for good quality work. But if the person doing it doesn't like what he's doing,
Mhm.
it's not going to reflect in his work.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
You're,
they can think, oh, I'm going to make so much money and blah, blah, blah. But if they don't really want to do it, it's not going to happen.
mhm. Yeah, and that sounds like that driving force is what really helped get you to where you're at today.
Oh, it is. Because again, I like what I do. I always like seeing it goes from nothing to something amazing. And it's just the process is beautiful.
Yeah, I think I feel like more, the younger generations, if they got to see more of your work or be exposed to it and see it as an avenue of like, hey, you can make a living doing this, and there's
I mean,
enough
I
work to
do.
go
I
around.
Yeah, I mean, and there is. I tell people that all the time. Just because you're doing it too doesn't mean you're taking money away from me. I still have my customer base. I still have my, people that I'm working with, and there's enough for everyone.
Yeah, yeah, and that and kind of going back to our generation of artists, man, I don't know a person who hasn't been on the podcast who said, if you're, somebody who's younger or even whatever, someone our age, and you're trying to get into this thing, ask the question.
Yeah.
You're an open book,
Yeah.
and
I think that's just part of the older generation. They don't want to share.
well, and I think sometimes the younger generation is a little too afraid to ask
It could be. Yeah, I mean, it could be that too.
because that's something we've done some events where we've been able to speak to some of the younger generations coming through, and I mean I remember when I was a kid, feeling nervous about asking about stuff too, or even sometimes it was just the pride of like not wanting to ask because you want to feel like you already know,
Yeah,
and that's also a trap right there too.
it is. No, you're right. It is.
Uh, so if somebody's listening to this and they are interested in getting to the steering wheel, you're an open book to them.
I have no problem sharing information. I really don't. I can tell them, I mean, anything they want to know, because I know at the end of the day, unless you're super passionate like I am,
Yeah,
it's not really going to go anywhere. And
yeah,
most of the people, they might just want to do a wheel for their own car, which is perfect.
yeah, yeah. That's actually a cool story there for the person. I mean, how many people are building the car and there's some kind of sentimental value to it. Where
Yeah, and if they want to, like, literally, if they want to be hands on every part of their car, I think that's great.
yeah, yeah, that's something that for a lot of people, whether they can afford to pay someone to do it or not, you know,
I
uh,
mean, that's the other thing too. I mean, what I do, it is expensive, but the results are there. But if they want to try to tackle it themselves, feel free.
yeah, yeah, I think that's a great way to take that approach with people. Um, because again, a lot of people are wanting to try something for themselves and sharing the information. It's not a negative.
No, I
Uh,
mean, I started off just wanting to do things a little here and there for myself. I really did. And then it just kind of blew up from there, which is, it's great for me because now it's my full-time business. Like 100% of my life is
yeah,
devoted
yeah.
just to steering wheels, which is fine.
And I know this would be niche, but have you ever thought of writing a book on it?
No, I have not. My biggest problem is I'm always working.
Yeah.
I would love to do a calendar with all my work, like with a lot of my work, because so many like great photographers, they take so many beautiful photos of the wheels, like
Hmm.
when they're in the cars, and it's like, ah, I should really do something with that. I
Yeah.
just haven't got around to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I do want to get back into the design aspect of a lot of this stuff because, like I was mentioning before, one of the things that bothers me in maybe I should use a different word, but as far as bothering me, but it's just the flow of the design of a car,
Hmm.
and where some of these modern custom steering wheels kind of go against that grain. Uh, when we're talking about the cars in these time periods, it wasn't just the steering wheel. Like I was saying before, it was like the dash is just
Yeah,
it's a showpiece on its own. They were so intricate.
a hundred
And
percent. I mean, every part of the dashboard was beautiful back in the day.
and that's something I think I don't know if I asked that question before about working with car designers or anything like that. Um, you know what? I think I already covered this part.
I mean, you
uh,
did ask me about the car designers, and I mentioned that I did work with like Rick Dorr on the Pantheon project,
yep.
and I gave him my opinion on what would look good in that car because it had those big fenders. So I recommended the 41 Zephyr wheel because it just has that beautiful flow which followed his car.
Hmm. So, do you get to be a part of like the actual initial design, or do most people come to you with here's a render, let's just recreate this?
No, to be honest, a lot of people they don't know what they want.
Okay.
They'll come to me and they can give me a rendering of their car and they can just ask, "Well, what would you recommend?" And I would give them my best opinion on what I think would go good, and they generally follow what I tell them.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, you've got the experience for it, man.
Yeah, I
And
mean, there's not a lot of people that say, "Hey, I want this." I
yeah,
mean, there's really not a lot of people. They honestly want my genuine opinion, and they might have their own idea. Like, I kind of want to do this or that one, and then I can just be like, "Well, out of the ones that you decided, I'd probably pick this one," and I would tell them why, and they would agree with it.
yeah.
99% of the time.
So, is there anything in the process that you think is misunderstood, or that is like, something most people don't think of?
Well, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, most people know that it does take time when they want something done, and
Hmm.
I mean, no, for the most part, I mean, all my customers have always been pretty understanding about everything.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, I got one last question for you.
Sure.
And I think this covers a lot of the creative process. I try to ask this on most podcast episodes. Where do you think your creativity comes from?
Ooh, I guess I wouldn't really know how to answer that where it comes from. Ah, I don't know how to answer that. I really don't. Um, yeah, I guess it just comes from within.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know where my creativity comes from. I don't. I really don't.
because again, you're an artist. Like the art form you do is I really enjoy it, and being able to come up with the processes and do it the way you've done it. You know, obviously there's trial and error. There's a lot of things that help us decide, well, you know what, this is going to look better with this type of flake, or this is going to look better like however it goes and however that speaks to you. And
Yeah.
as creatives, artists, whatever, it's like there's something that like speaking to you, I don't know whether it's from your soul, from your heart, whatever it is, like
Well, I mean, for me, it's just I don't know where it comes from, but it's a certain flow that I have that like they show me the paint job on their car and I'll pick two colors out and be like,
yeah.
I think this would be perfect for your interior.
Hmm.
And I don't know where that comes from. I don't, but I just have a really good eye for
Yeah, yeah.
that. And some customers will come to me and they tell me like I wanted this color and they send me their car and I'm like, that's not going to work. That's going to clash. That's going to be awful. Let me suggest this for you. And again, 99% of the time they'll go with what I say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they always say, well, you're the one, you're the creativity and all this and blah, blah, blah. And they will follow my advice.
Yeah. Yeah. See, and with them following your advice, that's something that, talking about the creativity aspect, not saying that other people don't have that in them, but there's a lot of people they really don't know. Like they're not conceptualizing the idea or the thought process.
Well, see, the thing is with me, like I can see what it looks like when it's done. And I don't understand. A lot of people, they can't do that.
Yeah.
Like I can see the car when it's done. Like you tell me what you want, in my mind, I can see it already done.
Yeah.
I can see it with the wheels and tires they chose, with the color they chose, with whatever they chose. But a lot of people, they can't visualize that, and I don't understand that.
Yeah, same here. That was a tough one for me for a long time because, whether it doesn't even have to be a client, it's just somebody that you're helping with a project or, whatever it is. Like, there's so many different scenarios.
Well, it's like with all my personal cars, like I bought them, they were junk and whatever. I was like, I knew what they would look like when they were done. I just had that vision. And then I did it, and then everyone is like, how did you even think of that? I'm like, I don't know. I just thought this would look good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's coming from somewhere.
It's coming from somewhere. I don't know where, but it is. Obviously, it is coming from somewhere, and everyone likes it.
Yeah. I do think it's a combination of experience and whatever that source is because, experience, it's like I do a lot of color combinations on custom vehicles, and I know, okay, well, this is going to look good with a certain flat finish or whatever the finish is going to be. These color combos are going to work. You're not going to want to paint this color because why do you want that to stand out? You want that to hide.
Right.
Where is it that you want the thing to be visually appealing, and where do you not want it to be? And, through all the builds and projects that I've been able to work on, you start developing that. But then there's another part of it that, again, where the source of creativity, that one takes over. And then you sit there and it's like, sometimes it feels like you black out and you're like, that turned out really cool. And that's part of why I do the podcast, because I think, we're all we have these creative minds where we get to do these really cool, unique things. And it's like, sometimes, yeah, my experience is what helped get there. And it's like and a lot of the time it's like, yeah, there was another part to this.
Yeah.
And
I think experience does have a big part of that too. I mean, I've done a lot of things to know what does work and what doesn't work. And I think that does play a big part of it is the experience.
Mm-hmm. Well, dude, you have a really unique aspect to the industry that I am still a huge fan of. I love seeing the work that you do. And, man, I really do appreciate you taking the time today to talk on the podcast and let people in on the world of what you do.
Oh, I appreciate it. I appreciate that you even wanted to take the time to do this and learn a little bit about what I do. Because, again, it's something that I started as a hobby, and it kind of blew up from there.
Mm-hmm. That's
and
cool,
I remember
man.
a good friend of mine, he said, and I'm never going to forget what he said. He said, you fill the void in the industry that was missing. And I'm never going to forget that.
That's awesome. That's a great way to end the podcast. And where can people find you on social media?
Steering Wheel Kris is basically all of my stuff, steeringwheelkris.com, but Kris is with a K, so it's just Kris.
Cool. Mainly Instagram?
I have a Facebook. I don't know how to work it that well, but it's mainly on Instagram, to be honest. We're always set up at Grand Nationals with a good friend of mine too, at Keystone Tape. We're always set up with them.
Cool. Awesome, Kris. Well, hey, thanks again.
Oh, well, again, thank you. I really do appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks again for listening to the Automotive Artistry Podcast. Hopefully you got something out of this conversation, whether it was inspiration, motivation, or just hearing how somebody else approaches the work. If this episode inspired you, one way you can help us is by following, sharing, and leaving a review. It helps our podcast tremendously. Another way you can help support the podcast is by heading over to our online store, aworkingclass.bigcartel.com. You can find us on Instagram at Automotive Artistry Podcasts, Automotive Practitioner, and The Working Class Women. We appreciate all of you listening. Let's get on to the next episode.